You think I need any makeup on back there in the back? Or
You're good.
too shiny today?
All right, we got Coach Collen here. He'll open up with a statement, and then we'll open up for questions after that.
I appreciate you guys all being here. I guess I just like to open with saying I'm really excited about this team. I'm excited about the last 2 or 3 teams that we've had, and this team in particular shows a lot of potential. We're awfully young. 7 of our 12 players are freshmen, so that's a bit of a challenge for us. But the good news sometimes is freshmen are incredibly naive when it comes to the level of competition, and they always step on the floor confident, feeling like they can get it done, and that's good. And then their personalities are it's just really refreshing. They come out, they work hard every day, they're real hungry. You know, they haven't experienced any losses yet, so they're all real positive. And so I think that's what's got to be the strength of this team, combined probably with the 5 players that we have returning back. So they're working hard. We're excited, and whatever questions you guys have, I would love to answer.
What do you think you learned from your
Everybody at once.
What do you think you learned from your team with the trip to Italy?
Well, it was good. We got the 10 days of practice in, and so a lot of times when you have that many freshmen on your roster, the first 10 days of practice are difficult, but they came in excited. So and then we kind of rolled the ball out and played. These international games are not necessarily against great competition, but we hadn't practiced for 3 or 4 days when we finally tipped off. And the thing that I really enjoyed watching was that the freshmen immediately stepped up. In the first game, 2 of our 3 top scorers, Mackenzie Adams and Jess Jackson, were freshmen. And, they didn't seem to feel pressure, which is good. And those games, of course, help us because they shouldn't feel any pressure in those games. But at the same time, you're representing the University of Arkansas. And so I think that was the big thing. I think the trip as a whole probably really helped us because it forced a really young team together, a lot of young players that don't know our upperclassmen, and it kind of forced us to room together and be on a trip together out of the country, and we got to know each other better. And I think that's significant because I think when you have a young team like this, chemistry is going to be really important. And so it kind of force-fed our chemistry issue. And so I hope that's going to benefit us down the road.
You put up some big numbers when you're over there. Is that something you see from her going?
She's a senior. She's our only senior. She has to be a good scorer for us. She scored last year, but she was a little inconsistent. And, she's playing with a lot of confidence right now. She's got to be a leader on our team. She's going out and trying to score. Every time she touches the ball, she's trying to score. And so I don't think that's going to be an issue for us. I think as long as she makes good decisions, I think that'll help us as well. But I anticipate that she's going to get out and she's going to score, and then she's going to do all the other things that she does so well. She's going to defend and she's going to rebound, and wreak a little bit of havoc on other people. So that's real important for us.
How big of an impact do you think Jessica Jackson can have?
Well, Jessica could have as big an impact, as she wants to have, and I do think she wants to have an impact. She's an awfully talented young lady, but she's also very humble, and she's very team-oriented. She's not the kid that's trying to go out there and take every shot. She's not. I don't think she's going to step on the floor and try to prove that she was the 10th best player in the country. I think she's just the type of kid that loves being a Razorback, and she plays with some confidence. And her skill set is so high that there's no way she's not going to impact us. And I don't think there's any doubt. I think if you ask the upperclassmen on our team returning how important is she to this first year, I think they would say she's very, very important.
Do you see this freshman class making a huge impact on this team early on, right from the get-go once the season starts?
The freshman class is going to make a big impact because of the fact that they're more than half of the team, and they're going to play. And that's a great opportunity for freshmen. A lot of freshmen, they're very highly touted. They get highly recruited. They're told how great they are, what they're going to accomplish, what they're going to do, and then they get here and they realize maybe they're not as good as the returning players that you have on your team. And certainly, with all due respect to the 5 returners we've got, I think they're all going to step up and do a great job too. too. But I just think you're going to see the freshmen play a significant number of minutes, and therefore the roles that they're going to play is going to be very, very important to us. So they're going to get a lot of opportunity. You know, it's not like a typical freshman. You know, they come in and maybe they get in the game and they make a mistake or two, and you yank them out because you're afraid you're going to lose the game before it. They're just going to have to stay in there, and they're going to have to work through their mistakes. And, a lot of times when that happens, if they don't have that fear of being pulled out of a game for every mistake they make, then they tend to march forward a little bit easier, and they tend to be more productive early in their career. So they're pretty important.
They've got the new 10-second rule this year. I know you guys like to play an up-tempo pace. You think it helps teams like that?
I'm not sure what impact it's going to have on our game, right now. I know we've talked about trying to have some presses where we maybe force the turnover by holding them in the backcourt for a little bit longer. So we're aware of that. I think if teams want to play slow tempo and they're used to just inbounding the ball and walking it up the floor, I think it's going to be a little harder on teams like that. Certainly we're not going to let people walk the ball up the floor on us. I don't know whether it'll impact us in terms of pushing tempo. I think things like that would be more maybe the shot clock, which right now is a new rule. They're exploring shortening the shot clock to 24 seconds and really forcing the action. So I think the 10-second rule is a little bit of an unknown for us right now.
Callie's played a lot of minutes for you. What are you looking for from her in her third year?
Well, I think she's going to have to. I don't like playing her that many minutes. I think it's probably too many minutes, and I worry about that. But at the same time, I think right now she's the one secure point guard that we've got. She knows what she's doing. I think she's the best point guard in the SEC. At least I thought she was last year. But I think she needs to step up and score a little bit more. I think she knows that. I think she's trying to be more aggressive in practice. She knows that we lost some double-digit scores, and we got to get some scoring from somewhere. So she's going to play a lot of minutes. I mean, there's no doubt about it. We've got to find a couple other people to back her up and keep her as fresh as we can. I tell you the best example. We go over to Italy and we get in a third game, and they cut into our lead, and we're only down 10 points at the beginning of the fourth quarter, and I refused to take her off the floor, and maybe it appeared that it just didn't matter because it's an exhibition game, but it was like my assistants were just hammering me, like, get her out of there. She's played the whole game, but that's what she does, and she's capable of doing it. I think she's in good enough shape. So it's not my intentions to do that, but if we get into a lot of close games, she knows she's probably not going to come off the floor.
So, because even in an exhibition game, it's hard to
it's a little. Well, it wasn't that one. You won your first two games. I kind of wanted to come home 3-0. So, yeah, I felt a little bit of pressure. I actually got a technical foul in an exhibition game in Italy. I mean, and I've only had one in my whole career. So I guess maybe I got a little bit uptight. I don't know.
Great international incident or anything?
No problems there.
When she came in, she was kind of known for her defense that first year, and then, like you said, she started becoming more of a scorer last year. What has she done to, grow her game on that?
She's got in the gym and she's worked a little bit harder. I mean, I think she's a little bit stronger. She takes contact a little bit harder, a little bit easier right now, and is able to finish, I think, a little bit more in the lane. Her shooting it's a little bit sporadic, and it's still not. You don't throw her into the shooting category, but she had stretches last year when we went out and we played in Hawaii. I mean, this kid averaged 25, 26 points a game, and I don't think we thought she was going to do that all year, but she dropped off a little bit. And I've told her before, I don't necessarily have those kinds of expectations from you, but I need to know that you're going to go out there and score 10 or 15 every game. And if you go off every once in a while and you get 20 or 25, then that's great. But we need her to have that mentality.
How do you replace Sarah in the post?
Well, I think with Sarah, I think it's got to be Jess Jackson. I mean, I think she's got to step in and play that role. She certainly is talented enough to do it. You've got to have a kid like Joey Bailey, who's a redshirt sophomore, step up and knock down some shots. We got a couple other freshman posts that are capable of doing that. We've talked about playing Melissa Wolf a little bit at the 4, even though she's small. We feel like she's just too good of a player to keep off the floor. So, we got to find minutes for her everywhere, 2, 3, 4. So, losing Sarah and Quistelle Williams, they were pretty productive scorers for us. But I feel like we've got good young players that can do that.
Coach, you think, is this now Callie's team? Is she now in charge of this team?
I think so. I think Callie was in charge of this team last year. You know, she's not a real vocal leader. I don't know whether she comes across that way, you know, on the court, but I don't think there's any question she's a leader in the locker room. The kids want her out on the floor. She's learning to become more vocal. You know, I was talking to the Rotary Club today about her, and you know, I watched her come through her high school days at Fayetteville, and you know, she came out of middle school as this famous, prolific player, scorer, and she stepped on the floor as a sophomore, and basically she became her team's point guard, and she facilitated other people. But as time went on, I think it became obvious that if Fayetteville was going to win another high school championship, that she was going to have to step up and score more and be an integral. And I look at her that like she's at that position right now. I don't want to wait till she's a senior. I think she needs to step up and do it as a junior, and she'd be the first one to tell you that she wants to do it.
I guess at media days they had a poll. I didn't vote in it, but they picked you guys 12th out of 14.
Well, that's good to hear you didn't vote on it, but
how do you feel about that? I know it's just paper, but how do you feel about it?
yeah, well, I'd say this. I'd say since I've been here, we finished higher than we were picked every single year that I've been here, and I'm anticipating that we're going to finish higher than that. I think my knee-jerk reaction to it was that I was a little offended, more for my team than anybody else. But at the same time, I think when you look at all of the rosters and you look in black and white on paper and you see that we don't have any double-digit scores returning, I think it's pretty easy to make that assessment. I think the one thing you know that the media around the SEC territory really don't have the advantage of is they don't watch us night in and night out. They don't understand some of the young players that we have that I think are capable of stepping up. So, you know, my belief is that I've got 3 or 4 kids that average 6 or 7 points a game, and they're all going to score 12 or 13 points a game this year, and they're going to be the next round. So, so it bothered me a little bit, you know, but we'll take that challenge on. You know, it's everybody roots for David and the David Goliath story. So, if that's where they think we're at, then we'll just catch them by surprise and see what we can do.
Do you feel you've added any perimeter players to help you offensively?
Yeah, I think we've added really solid perimeter players. You know, we lost Dominique Wilson, you know, to transfer, and she was a freshman that it took her a while to figure it out, but then when she finally came on at the end of the year, it was like gangbusters. And I think we've got 3 freshman guards that are really capable of playing that way right off the bat. Mackenzie Adams, whose dad Peanut played football here, you know, she's just really aggressive scorer. She was one of those kids that went over to Italy and scored double figures in 2 of the 3 games, and she's just really offensively aggressively. She can hit the 3. She's creative. She can play the point a little bit. Kelsey Brooks out of Kansas, extremely athletic. It kind of reminds you a little bit of Kiera Peak. A little bit more under control. Can step up and shoot it from the outside a little bit more. Great defensive player. And then the big surprise for us has been Bria Pitts out of Tulsa. We knew how talented she was. I mean, she was a kid that was ranked early in her career in the top 100 in the country. But she had ACL damage 3 times. She had it the 3rd time after we had signed her. And so, you know, I had some question marks, not about how talented she was, but about whether she could recover in time to be helpful this season. But we held her out. She went to Italy, but she didn't play. First day of practice, she was hesitant. A little less hesitant the next day, a little less hesitant. Now you come out and you watch us practice, and she knocks down the 3 and scores as much as any player on the team. So I think those 3 guards, I think they're all going to play. They're all going to contribute, and I think we need them to. We need them to score for us.